All right. Hello, good evening, and welcome back to Race Talks Uncut Season 2. I'm not even sure what episode this is because we hit the ground running with Season 2, and I haven't been able to keep track of all the wonderful guests we have had sliding through here. Tonight is no different. I want to welcome you to the show if this is your first time. I'm Charles Jackson, the host. I have the pleasure to host this show, brought to you by Charles Jackson Media, which is a consultancy connecting people, passion, and purpose. On our channel, we talk all things leadership, tech, and culture, really. This show was started on the heels of the social and civil unrest. As I sat down and I watched, like many of you, the 9 minutes, 26 something seconds of George Floyd's murder, I began to write my thoughts because I realized in that moment, as a black man in America, that there was no escaping this narrative that we are a threat to society in many ways, that we are takers, we are aggressive, we are dangerous. And so as I tried to live a life serving my community, serving my country in the Marine Corps, serving others around me, education, living in affluent neighborhoods, just being a positive contributor to society. None of that changed the fact that the color of my skin brought certain stereotypes that I would be subject to. And every day when I walked out of the door, I knew that, regardless of me trying to suppress it, to block it out, to rise above it all, to put a smile on and make people comfortable around me. I walked around carrying a lot of weight. And so as I watched what took place with George Floyd, I began to write. That writing is turning into a book, which many of you have already been reaching out to me asking about getting your copy, a low down, good for nothing, and uncensored account of the black man in America. More on that to come. But it also birthed this show, Race Talks Uncut, where we sit down to talk about culture. I believe part of our struggle in terms of race is the fact that we need to increase our proximity to the things and the people that are not familiar to us. We're hating people, we're hating things, we're shunning things and avoiding things and people because they are uncommon to us. And when things are uncommon to us, when there's no knowledge of it, we hate it, we fear it, we avoid it, we treat it badly. And so I started this show so that way we can connect and get some familiarity with the things, the people, the cultures that are different from us. No matter where you come from, no matter what you've done, no matter what you look like, we are all human beings, one race, and that is the human race. And although we are very different, being different does not mean we have to be divided. We are different. That is a fact. But being different doesn't mean we have to be divided. And so I started this show because I no longer wanted to just be tolerated as a black man living in America. I wanted to live freely, unapologetically, and be authentically me in the pursuit of happiness, life, and liberty, like the Constitution says, without any worrying about being stereotyped. And so this week adds another layer to our culture cloth. I am honored to sit down with some young professionals who some I know very well and some I've had the pleasure to get to know recently and some who I'm getting to know. But millennials are, I think, one of the most misunderstood generations. We get a bad rap for things like napping pods, shout out to Google, joining the vegan lifestyle, or, going green, living in our parents' basements, and all of these things, none of which are bad things, but for some reason they come with negative stereotypes, and not all millennials, fall into those things. But there's a whole another side to us. And yes, I say us. I believe that millennial and Gen Z group is the one leading the charge in the fight for racial, social change that we are seeing right now personally. They're standing up for their convictions, very courageous, ambitious, have an entrepreneur mindset. There's so much more to us, to them. This desire to embrace those from diverse backgrounds. And you may have noticed that, again, I put myself into that category as a young professional. But tonight I'm going to sit down with some individuals. I'm excited to bring them to the stage for an open dialogue. This will be an open dialogue. There's no agenda. I didn't send them questions ahead. They're backstage in the green room right now. I just ask them to come and have a conversation with me so that way we can get their perspective on things that are going on, things that have taken place, and things that are coming up, right? And so that's what this is about, a fireside chat. So go ahead, share this out. If you haven't already, jump over to YouTube because we're going to have a giveaway. We have several items that we'll be giving away tonight. I'm excited. My guests have some merch that they're going to be giving away. But I want you to send us some questions. Drop your questions in the chat. Thumbs up, like us, give us the fire, whatever. Whatever y'all do with those emojis and stuff out there, do it for this group that is getting ready to join me in just a moment. And without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to bring to the stage Desmond and Maya Sumpter and Jeffron Smalls. So let me grab them, and we're going to get this conversation started. All right. What's going on? How are we doing, family? Welcome to Race Talks Uncut.
It's an honor. Feeling good.
Good, man. Jeff, how you doing? Des and Maya, how you doing? What's up?
I'm good.
You good?
Doing great.
Y'all sure?
Oh yeah.
Feeling good.
Hey, I done pumped everybody up. Now don't come on the show quiet. I done pumped everybody up for y'all all week, and in my social media, I've been telling my team about this amazing group of young professionals coming to the stage. So hey, we have a great show, I think. We're going to talk about some things that are going to be super enlightening for our guests because, again, I think it's all about perspective, and you three are going to have different perspectives on some things, but there'll be a lot of commonality as we talk through some of the things that are going on, you know. But first, I want to start with some introductions because everybody, you know, may not know who you are just yet. And instead of asking, hey, you know, what do you do? I like to ask you this because I really want you to think about it. I think we need to be intentional about living on purpose. And I'll start with Des and Maya, and then I'll go over to you, Jeff. What purpose are you currently fulfilling and walking in, and how are you doing that? And in doing that, answering that question, this is your opportunity to tell us a little bit about yourself. But we really want to know what kind of purpose you're walking in right now, fulfilling. We're going to start with you, Maya.
You got to put me on the
Yep.
first.
Ladies first. They were going to tell you to go first anyway. It was like, oh, yeah, Maya going to go first for sure.
You know, I think that this is a really tough question for me, especially because right now I'm in a transitional part of my life.
Okay.
I'm a new mom. Our son is 1 year old. So right now I'm a stay-at-home mommy, and I feel like that is my purpose right now, to be there for him and be the support that he needs right now, as well as dabbling in some social media management and some other things, supporting Des.
Wait a minute. I'm going to stop you right now. No, I don't interrupt guests when they're talking about their passion for. Why is that so hard for you? Motherhood? What? Talk about purpose and calling. That is hard. That's an easy one to answer. Maya, what purpose are you fulfilling right now? Motherhood and being the helpmate, being a good wife to this man next to me. No, that is it right there. No, I love that. So the baby's 1 year old. What's his name?
Yeah.
Aiden
is 1 year old. And we'll talk about family here in a second. Okay. So that's Maya. How about you, Des?
Nice. Well, for those that don't know, I'm Desmond Sumpter from Georgetown, South Carolina, co-founder of Lifting Our Youth, as well as an operation program manager for Amazon right now. But to answer your question, Charles, I would say, you know, just inspiring and leading as an example for my family. A lot of people don't know, but I'm the oldest of three. So for my younger brothers, you know, every day I'm looking at how can I lead by example, and that way they can follow, right? And as a new father, you know, same for Aiden. So for me, it's more so, you know, practicing what I preach and leading by example and inspiring the young guys that are coming behind me to be better, you know, and yeah, you know, that's what I would say.
Okay. If you see me writing, I'm taking notes because I'm going to come back to some of the things that y'all said. I don't want to get ahead. I love it. Jeff, how about you, bro?
Awesome. So my name is Jeffron Smalls. To everyone that's watching right now, I'm currently I'm a tech professional. Been at Microsoft for the past 4 years, right out of college. Actually, me and my fiance, we both work at Microsoft, and we both met throughout our job at Microsoft. And so I would say like my purpose right now is really just, I got a wedding coming up in February, my fiance and I, and it's really just, really tapping into like strong manhood right now, like leadership skills and just being the best version of myself. It's a lot of work, especially when, my parents was divorced. And so a lot of things as far as like generationally is like curses that I'm breaking currently. And so my purpose is to be the best version of myself and to do what Dad said, like really set the tone for those around me, for my friends and family, and break every obstacle that come my way.
Man, all right. You look, I got a whole bunch of other stuff that I'm supposed to be talking to y'all about. But you young men, you kind of just lit a fire in me. So when you start talking about leadership, you start talking about leading well, especially leading families well, and then in the marketplace, in the communities. But you guys started at home. I got to go there. This is going to be my first question. It wasn't even planned, but both of you said, first of all, congratulations on the marriage, baby, and the engagement. Shout out to you all. And also recent graduates, right? Within a year, I think you all graduated college or something like that. Year and a half almost.
Like 3 years.
3 years now?
Yeah.
All right. So recent grads. Man, I got to go to this. You both said, Des and Jeff, that right now I work at Amazon, or I'm a tech, I'm doing this, Microsoft, but I'm really focused on leading my family well. Why is that important? I'm going to go back to you, Des. Why is that important, right? Anytime I hear a young man, and I'm going to be honest, a young black man tell me that his priority right now is leading his family well, I literally get chills.
Yeah.
I do this all the time. I coach couples, I coach men, and not a lot of them have that at the top of the list. Like that's like third sometimes. So I got to ask that question, Des, why is that important?
It's important for me because, I like to remind Maya, I know Aiden is 1 year old, but we're raising a man, right? One day Aiden is going to become a man. And, the things that I do, the things that he see, a lot of that he's probably going to take in practice when he becomes older, right? So for me, I always want to again, lead by example, but also, push Aiden to be better than me, right? That way he can pass that on to his children someday, as well as out in the real world, right? So for me, it's so important that Aiden, I lead by example and do things the right way, because Aiden is going to become a man, and I want him to go out and who knows, be the next Barack Obama, right? So that's why it's important for me.
How about you, Jeff?
Yeah, this is a good question. So like, it's important for me because first of all, Des and I are like best friends. And so we kind of grew up in the same similar environment. And so when you see the odds just stacked against you, you want to really get through those odds and really be the best version, be who you wanted to be when you was younger. And that's something that I always look at myself. And, whether it's for my career, my professional career, and just like thinking over the past year, it's been a tough year for many people. And it allowed me to focus on what's important. Like it doesn't matter about my career, the title, money, all that stuff is, doesn't matter at all. Even though as a man, I like to provide, but I'm looking at providing from a different lens, such as like emotional, mentally, spiritually. And so that's some of the things when I think about like leadership and making sure that I provide that to my fiance as I'm working to being a husband, and just being, learning as I go, like whether that's, therapy sessions, like just being, understanding myself, healing, all these different things that helps me to make sure that I'm equipping myself to be a better leader.
Wow. So, and I think you both almost said it, as I do leadership development, and I have a group of men that I coach, and it's called Armor of Man, but I teach them 3 things. I really feel like we were placed here as men to provide, protect, and be the priests over our household and our families, right? And as you were talking, you both hit on that: providing, protecting, being the priest, and the priests promote the well-being of those under them, whether it's a spouse, whether it's children, wherever you're at. You're promoting the well-being of others. That's what I mean when I say priest. I don't mean like you're preaching to them all the time. That's an aspect of it, that teaching from a spiritual standpoint, but to lift them up and make them better. Whether it's your son, because you understand that he's coming up behind you and you want him to be a positive contributor to society, right? A respectable young man. You want him to have favor. You want him to grow up and be somebody who is dependable, and you can start throwing out those words: having integrity, having a skill, right? Bringing something to the table and making things better. That's important to you. Or it's protecting that which you've been given, right? You understand that a woman is a gift, children are a gift, and so you want to protect that. I think it's awesome. So I have to ask, and then I'm going to go to Maya, but I'm curious. Was an example of that in your life always growing up, Des and Jeff? Is that why you have that to aspire to, because your fathers were around to kind of give you that example?
Des, you want to take that? Or
Yes. So yes. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes. So my dad, he definitely was a great example of that. People that know my dad, he doesn't speak as much, right? But he did lead by example as far as protecting, providing, being that priest for our household. So I will say yes.
Good. How about you, Jeff?
On my end, I would have to say no on my end. Growing up in a single parent household for after 6th grade, and even growing up, like it was kind of difficult to see. I had to step up at an early age, which I think through my I'm still young, but like throughout my teenage years, going through college, like I felt like I built up this anger. And I felt like I used to channel that anger into like just, whether that's being ambitious and goals. And I feel like it was more so hurt because I feel like I couldn't depend on the male figure in my life. And so having that was the fuel to the fire for me to be who I wanted to be that person who I needed when I was young, as I mentioned earlier. And so not having that, I will say, definitely even in my relationship now with my fiance, shout out to her, Andrea Adams. And so like I had to unlearn a lot of different things. And so that, that's why I really be super intentional with like everything and making sure that I'm not marked, because I want to be a better version and like how I see myself in the future.
Man, Maya, how does that make you feel, understanding that you are connected and aligned with someone who takes that role and takes it so seriously? Like that has to give you a sense of comfort or peace of mind. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I'm assuming it does. Understanding that, yeah, how does that make you feel?
It definitely does. You feel supported, you feel protected, and you feel like this is a partnership. Desmond and I did premarital counseling before we got married, and that was definitely a big part of it, understanding Desmond's role as well as my role in our house and in our marriage. And so that was a big deal to see that unveil, like to hear, those words said and realize, okay, well, Des is doing all this, like we're on the right track. So, yeah.
That's awesome. And was that something that you sought out, like those type of qualities?
Oh, of course.
And did it have anything to do with how you was raised? Right. So I say I know some of these individuals for a long time. I've been knowing Maya the longest. Her father, shout out to Casey
like
Moorhead.
8, 9 years now.
Yeah, it's been a long time. Her dad happens to be.
Yeah, my dad was definitely that.
Yeah. So, man, that is so cool. Like, yeah, you guys got me fired up with that. I could talk about that all day, just leading families well. But there's so much more I want to dive into. So I want to go ahead and shout out everybody that is rocking with us right now in the comments. Antonio, I see you, Zanet, Casey, everybody that is on YouTube and Facebook. Thanks for joining us tonight for the conversation. If you have any questions, comments, don't hesitate to drop them in the chat. And if you're over on Facebook, just remember we're going to do the giveaway on YouTube because the team is only monitoring one platform. So you guys mentioned age once. I think it was Jeff who mentioned age. Are you all under 30?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, like, yeah, all under 30, families, careers, degrees, you guys had some good upbringing, man. I started a little late with my degree and stuff. So shout out to you. All right. So about 3 years ago, you graduated. Let's dive into some of the reasons that I wanted to have this conversation. So now that we've got a chance to get to know you, right? I guess we can celebrate the fact that there is an engagement and the family is getting ready to grow. I love that. But I want to start here. And when I reached out to you initially, it was right after everything took place with the political unrest, the social unrest, and everything that was going on surrounding racism. And I said, we really need to hear from the younger generation. I felt like, because you guys have a perspective to me that is very unique. And what made me realize that, and I was at the stage for the conversation, I was at it's event. It's like Fortune 500 companies, and I'm talking to this young guy. I think he was about 26. And one of the CEOs kept going on and on about the fact that they just hired or promoted a young lady to like an SVP position. And he kept saying, we have a woman as an SVP, our new woman SVP. And he kept mentioning the fact that she was a woman. And the young cat looked over at me. He's like, why does he keep mentioning the fact that she's a woman? Why does that even matter? And I thought for a moment, okay, is he like serious? Is he being naive or what? But he was genuinely asking because in his eyes, he just saw a person who was qualified being promoted into the position. To him, the gender, the race, none of that mattered. And so I thought, okay, who else has that perspective and position on things, right? So as stuff has been happening for you all, right? We saw George Floyd, we saw Breonna Taylor, we saw everything with the presidents, everything with the riots and all this type of stuff. And companies are now promoting people of color, and they're trying to diversify their employees and their staff and all of that kind of stuff. I'm going to come here with you, Maya. As you were graduating, because a lot of this was going on either right after you graduated or while you were going to school maybe, what was your thought on all of this? And whatever that thought was, did it have anything to do with how you were raised and how you were brought up to think about race and gender and equality and all of that? So let's go there.
Well, yeah. So my degree is actually in education.
Okay.
So I did think about it a lot because what happens in politics affects us in the classroom as well as our students. And when I was teaching, I taught in a high poverty area. So low income, a lot of Black and brown students. So initially, for my students to see a teacher who looks like them, that was a win for them. They felt like they could connect. And it challenged me to make sure that my instruction wasn't biased, that they weren't hearing, my beliefs per se, but what is right. Even if that does disagree with whoever is president at the time and so forth. So it definitely affected me in a way that influenced how I taught and how I spoke to my students as well as other educators. Because, I was a young person going into a field where generally teachers teach until they retire. And so I had teachers who have been teaching for 40 plus years on my team who, did support the president and did have different views than I did at the time. And so it was a challenge to have my voice heard as a young woman coming in, as a Black young woman coming in. So it definitely did affect me.
Yeah. What steps did you take to kind of overcome that? What did you do? How did you maneuver into that space then? Did you shy away what? Yeah.
Oh no, I didn't shy away. But so. Like you said, it ties back into my upbringing. My parents always raised me to have a voice and a respectful voice. So I never was disrespectful with it, but I always voiced my opinions and my input and made sure that it was in a respectful way and that I was respected in return. So we had a good understanding.
So, okay. No, yeah. And I like what you said, making sure that the instructions and the things that you were teaching and the way you were going about it, you had to check your own either conscious or unconscious bias, right? That's
Exactly.
important. That's
It is,
big.
and it's hard. It's
It,
really hard.
yeah, talk about it. Like, that is hard to do. And I feel
It
like
is.
we all need to, unless we all, and you, if you've been following me, those who are on YouTube, Facebook, and Roku, if you've been following me at all, you know, I want to say this, unless we all change and check our debilitating unconscious, conscious bias, beliefs, and behaviors, the chaos that we're seeing will continue. And I think it's so big, Maya, that you
It
said
will.
you did that yourself. I'm gonna ask you a different question, Des, because I'm curious, man. So George Floyd, for you watching that, and this also, Jeff, I'm gonna go that way with you. How did that make you feel? What was your reaction to that?
That's a great question. Honestly, I was angry. More so, it's to the point where I wasn't surprised, and that's bad, right? But I was
Mm,
angry because, for a cop to sit there and do that on a camera and not care shows that, obviously this is something that he probably done before or something that, he's used to. I mean,
mm,
they're used to abusing power, right? So, for me, it was just anger, and I didn't know how to, you know release those frustrations and anger. So, I talked to Maya about it, and just to get it out my system. But again, I was just angry.
how about you, Jeff?
Yeah, that's I'll never forget that. That was the weekend. I was on a social media fast, and I proposed to my fiance that week. And
Mm,
I went on a social media fast because it was a surprise. It was in Houston, and immediately after the day I proposed, I got back on social media and I expressed my feelings on how because I feel deeply about these situations, and I had to even rolled over into my corporate job. I had a meeting with GMs, like it just was unacceptable because I want to make sure that every black voice is heard and making sure that they feel comfortable because it's hard to work and be productive, especially when you have a job or whatever your situation is. It's hard to focus. And I was hurt. I remember doing a social media live forum with someone called, being black in corporate. Like we had these discussions, and I like to be expressive, and
mm-hmm.
to my point, like I like having a voice and sharing my feelings, and because I know a lot of people feel the same way, especially in our community.
Yeah, I get this all the time. I hear that the younger generation is less racist than older generations. Y'all believe that?
No,
I
I don't.
All three, they all
I
laughing.
don't. But I'll tell you why I don't. Because hate is learned.
Mm,
Somebody has to teach it, and so as long as it's still around in these older generations, then these younger generations are going to experience it. I remember on my when I was doing my student teacher, I was interning at a school, and it was in a rural area. Predominantly white. You didn't see many black people. If you did see black people at the school, they were the custodians. They
mm-hmm.
were the lunch workers. So I was a black teacher in the students class, and I remember um, we were in the hallway and we passed the custodian, and she was just so sweet. She was waving at one of my students, and this little boy turns around and he says, "Don't wave at her." And I said, "Why?" And he didn't say anything else. And it was at that moment, like as soon as he said it, I knew what his intentions were and I knew why he said it.
Yeah,
The way he looked at the lady, he looked at her with disgust.
right.
And on a later occasion, I got to meet his grandfather, and it made sense.
Yeah,
It made so much sense because it was taught. Like he had no reason to hate her. He's interacted with me just fine many
mm-hmm.
times, so I know that he can act right, but
Absolutely.
he was taught to hate for no reason, and so I
Right.
feel like it is still around.
Whew,
Not as
yeah.
much, maybe, but I think it's still around.
Yeah, I think children are the greatest imitators. And I think things get passed down generationally. Some of it is explicitly taught, and some of it is just through demeanor and behavior, right?
Yep.
I don't think there are a lot of people that sit down with their children and say, hey, black people are bad, Hispanics are bad, if somebody is Asian American, they're bad, or men are bad or women are bad. I don't think people necessarily do that anymore. Maybe few and far between. But it's more so the subtle things that you do around a particular race or group. For example, if a mother is walking with her daughter and they're walking down the street and say they are not black, maybe they're white or Hispanic or whatever. And as the mother sees a black group approaching, she clutches her purse or she grabs the daughter's hand tighter and her body tenses up. She don't say anything to the daughter and they walk by and they keep going. And when they pass them, she releases and she's back to kind of that tense moment is gone. The daughter sees that. What is the association with the daughter?
To be
Saw,
scared whenever she sees a black girl.
right. So it's not like they sit down at the dinner table. People are sitting down at the dinner table and teaching it. It's through our everyday interactions with what we say when we're watching TV, the jokes that we laugh at and the things that we accept. And that goes both ways. As black people, we can do it too, right? About other races. So I want to ask you, how do we then, as you guys prepare to raise family and things of that, how do you have conversations about race and, your identity without creating further divides or making your child, hate a particular race or feel belittled or demeaning them in any kind of way by telling them to respond to the dominant race a certain way? Have you thought about how you're going to navigate that? And Jeff, I'm going to start with you. You're not even there yet with the child, so that's why I'm going to start with you because you got a little bit more time to be thinking about it. Desmond, you're a year in, man, but I'm going to go to you too. But Jeff, how do you feel like you're going to handle that?
Yeah, first, that's a great question. And I think part of it is too, like I touched on, like just being emotionally intelligence too, like with just the people around you, and just making sure, like like, hey, why do you feel that way? Like
Mm,
versus like communicating, you're expressing your feelings about like different things such as race, and that's something that I think about often. Honestly, I don't have a perfect answer, but I will say I think communicating is key,
yeah.
and just having those discussions and to being able to open up and like one thing I like about like just like you mentioned the dinner table, like those type of conversations where you can sit and just talk, like ask those questions to just to kind of make sure that logic and just making sure like the sound of just the perspective of just race and how we think about it.
Mm-hmm. About you, Desmond, how you going to have that conversation with little man?
Um, that's a great question, and I plus one Jeff to communication is key, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting because I had a call maybe a few months ago with my director and team. Mind you, I'm the only black male in my entire organization at the time. I had that conversation, and this has been a difficult thing to think about for me as Aiden continues to get older, right? How do I have that conversation, without continuing to create that separation between race, right? But
Mm-hmm.
for me, it's just always reminding Aiden that you know he is strong. His voice is heard. That he can do
Mm-hmm.
anything that he wants to do for one. Um, not by not saying that to him, but not really saying don't let a white person belittle you or anything like that,
Mm-hmm.
right? So just
Yeah.
reminding him that from an upbringing perspective, and then two, you know a part of me wants to, inform him that there racism is out there in this world, right? Like, if a cop pull you over, what to do? I don't want him to go in those situations blind. So that's why it's been a difficult thing for me to figure out what approach to take. And, as time continue to pass on, that's a conversation Maya and I will continue to have to figure out the best approach because I don't think there's really a perfect answer for a situation like this.
Yeah. Maya, you want to add to that?
Sure.
Yeah.
So, I I definitely agree with what they said. Communication is the thing. I've taken the approach. I'm an educator, so I've taken the approach of educating. We expose Aiden to books, with different races. Even now, he's one, but we read books with people who look different on
Mm-hmm.
his day-to-day life. His doctors that he goes to at the hospital are not black. They're Asian, they're white. Our friends are white, Asian. Like we have all different color friends. So he's exposed to that on a day-to-day basis. But at the same time, I'm teaching him to love his blackness, to know who he is, and to
Mm,
be okay with who he is. Because I feel like growing up, I did know who I was, but I don't feel like I was secure enough in knowing that it's okay to be black. It's okay
yeah.
to be a black girl. So I'm making sure that I'm changing that approach with Aiden. But at the same time, like they said, just the communication of it. He needs to be aware that it's out there, but it doesn't have to be a constant
Yeah.
um, gray cloud over our life
Mm-hmm.
that he's living in fear, because that's not what
Yeah.
we want. We don't want him to move around in fear,
Oh,
but move around understanding this is how the world works right now.
Yeah.
Prayerfully, it changes,
Yeah.
in these next
right.
18 years. He maybe it won't be like this, but as of right now, he needs to be aware of what's going on so that he's not confronting it with ignorance
Yes.
and then in turn ending badly.
Yeah.
That's so powerful. Maya, you're young and beautiful, and I heard you say, talk about the identity and accepting your blackness. At what point do you feel like you were able to say, yeah, I'm a beautiful black woman and I'm comfortable in my skin, my hair, whether it's braids, extensions, or natural, I'm who I am? Because, I see you on social media, nothing about you seems to have an ounce of like insecurity, not like you're over the top confident, but you seem very confident in who you are. And if I'm hearing you right, there was a time where what may have not been the case.
Maybe that's the yes. I'm an introvert at heart, and
Okay.
so on the outside it may seem like I'm a lot more outgoing than I actually am. But you're right. You're right. I think it happened as I got older.
Okay.
Definitely college changed that for me.
Mm,
Becoming a mom changed that for me because I had to be okay with who I am now. I'm not who I was, before having Aiden. I don't look like that anymore, sadly. But um, just with time, I think just becoming okay. And it wasn't that I wasn't raised in a household where I wasn't taught to love myself. I always
mm-hmm.
was. But it really was an internal thing. It was just seeing people around me. And I was raised, in a military house and around different military kids. So they were never just black or never just white. So I'm used to seeing different races. But I just never really tapped into who I was as a black woman until I got older.
Okay. Can you see the comment on the screen?
Yes, you're right.
So did
I'm really an introvert. Don't
right?
let this fool you.
I don't know. Look like some people in the chat know you a little better, and they're like, "What?" So are all of you fraternity, sorority, or no?
Yeah,
Yes.
we all are.
Yeah.
All right. So did
Nice
that?
code.
All right, let's go. Did that have anything to do with it?
Definitely. It definitely did.
Do you
I think
think that is something that our community, the black community, like we hold near and dear to us to help us in life, either with our identity or help us get ahead because of the connections? Is that why you sought after, or was it just you wanted to be out there stepping with the cue dolls or shimmying with the kappas or throwing up
no.
diamonds? Like, what was it?
I mean, don't get me wrong. There are people who approach it for those reasons, but I can attest that none of us that was our reason. I grew up, my grandmother and one of my aunts are deltas as well.
Okay.
So I grew up seeing what it meant to be a delta woman, and so I aspired to do that for those reasons, for service and sisterhood. So it was never just to be out there with the castles
Yeah.
or the albums.
How about you, Jeff?
Yeah, I think it definitely played a big part. And I attended a historically black college university, which you see a plethora of like different blackness, and
Hmm.
I think that really helped because it's like growing up in a small town, but when you go to a big HBCU, like 10,000 plus,
And where'd you
majority
go?
of black.
Sorry, where'd you go?
North Carolina A&T State
Shout out to
University.
North Carolina A&T. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah,
I
and
went to
so
Bethune
that
Cookman.
really, oh, HBCU love, nice,
Yeah,
nice,
yeah.
nice. And my fiance, she went to Howard, and so like just having like those experiences like really teaches you about your blackness, especially
Yeah.
before going into the real world, where you're in a minority again. So it's like you get that black experience, then you get that build that confidence up, and you go into the real world. Like I got the confidence. I know who I am. I know my worth, and so it helped out a lot.
Man, that's what's up. Dad, you want to add anything? I see you nodding.
Yeah, I plus one to that. It definitely helps with your confidence, and you have a group of like individuals from different areas and different parts of the world, right? So you learn from each other as well, and you take those things that you learn to help build up the next person,
Yeah,
and they apply that into the real world when they start their career, when they start a family, or when they get in those leadership positions. So yeah.
man, that's so. All right. So then, all right, and tell us again. Maya said Delta. Des.
Cap Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated.
And Jeff.
Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated.
All right. So you hear.
I'm about to outshine my fraternity.
Right. I wonder who's watching. All right. So I see some sorrows out there. Maya, you got somebody.
Shout out to my sorrows.
Right. Man. So, all right. So this is what I'm going to do. Because I got to. Oh no! Actually, before we take a break, Desmond, you had said something about being in corporate America. So, and I think Jeff, you did too. But Desmond, you talked about not having a lot of people that look like you. You're young, you're a professional, you got your degree, you're working for Amazon, you're doing your thing. But the previous company, is that where it was where you say you was the only young black man? Was it the previous company or is it now?
No, it's the current company.
Current company. Okay. So how do you intend to navigate that water? How do you feel being in that water? Do you feel any kind of way about it? Does it drive you to be a part of the change, or how are you navigating that? I'm really curious.
That's a great question. In the beginning, I was very uncomfortable.
Okay.
I was very uncomfortable.
And can you tell the folks why? What was about the situation that was uncomfortable?
It was more so, for me, I would say, in a room full of no one that looks like me, it automatically made me put up a guard as far as, what I allow them access to. And, how certain things I would say, certain conversations, and things like that. It was like that in the beginning. But, as time passed and then, obviously the George Floyd situation and, seeing all this thing that going on, it definitely was a push for me to start speaking up more, right? Asking my director questions, challenging him from a diversity and inclusion standpoint, right? So, over time, it got better, but I will say it was a very difficult situation to be in. Being young, the youngest as well. I was also the youngest. So to drive that influence, it was going to take more than just me in order to help spread that diversity within our organization.
Absolutely. Why is it that your generation want to challenge everything? My parents would have taught me, hey, you got a job, you're good. Don't go in there, don't create no fuss, just keep your head down, go to work and then go home to your family. Don't be asking for like espresso machines and napping pods and asking, can you get a break and negotiating salaries. Like, don't do that. You got a job, you're good. Because that's what their parents taught them and their parents taught them. Because remember, we're coming out of generations of being enslaved, then giving the little, then giving the low jobs and fighting for jobs. And so it was like, if you get it, just hold on to it. Don't create a fuss.
Exactly.
I think our generation, the higher millennial age, right there on the cusp of almost being, we feel like, maybe somebody else go first, then we'll go, a lot of them.
Yeah.
But then I feel like the younger millennials and Gen Z nah, that ain't right. First of all, I want a personalized experience. I don't eat that meat. So when you have a company dinner, you might need to have a diverse smorgasbord of stuff because I'm vegan. Like, what gives y'all? Why do y'all not accept the status quo? Of course, there's no right or wrong answer here, but just personally, why is it that you feel like it's important to push back against these things? And I'm gonna start with Jeff.
That's a great question. That's a great point. And it's funny that you said that because in my and Des met my future in-laws to be, and like we always have these conversations where we have dinner and like older generation, and so they hate if I say older generation, but you all know what I'm saying. So like it's we have conversation. Okay, why they always challenge us? Okay, why
Mm,
would you got a good company? Why wouldn't you just stay where you at, or just be maintain where you're at. And so it's
yeah,
interesting because they then challenge us to share their perspective, and then we share our perspective, me and my fiance, on like how we're thinking as
mm,
young millennials. And so it's interesting to see that difference,
yep,
and it's actually very eye-opening because we're in a climate where we're going to be the next leaders. We're going to
yeah,
be the next leaders, and I think I'm hopeful that our generation are going to step up and be the next change that we would like to see.
yeah. There's Maya.
Well, I think, we're just fed up, period. I mean, I'm just being honest, we're fed up. And then, I think more so a lot of us starting to realize and know our worth. That's
Mm,
part of it because, you know, uh, I like LeBron said, when the young lady made the comment about shut up and dribble.
mm-hmm.
We're done being quiet and just keeping our heads down, right? So at the end of the day, like LeBron said, he's more than a basketball player. We're more than just our jobs, right? We
Right.
have lives and other things that we value and do outside of just our 8 to 5s, our 9 to 5s, right? So I definitely would say we're realizing our worth, and we're making it be known. Like, look, you're not going to walk all over me, or you're not going to lowball me, or you know this is what I'm worth, and
Yep.
we're pushing for that change, and we're going to continue to push for it.
Yeah. I think that is big too, knowing your worth. And I think, again, parents are doing a good job of allowing us to see it and know it, understanding at a young age, having the examples around us. But then, outside of being fed up, knowing your worth, we have access to go through the World Wide Web and work anywhere and find that diverse company that is aligned with our goals, our morals, and our values, and we can move there. They will pay for us to move there. Before, we had to find a job right at the local. Again, things have changed. We had to find those local jobs in the newspaper, the penny saver, finding jobs. Right? You get online now, you can find a job, France, Asia, wherever you want to go, Hawaii, and you don't have to be tied to that one company that's right in front of you. And we know that too. So knowing your worth, knowing that this is not the only job out there. So hey, you're either going to change and get with the program, or I'm going to go and find that company that will. So all of that are great points. I'm glad I asked that question. I think that's super good that you guys feel that way, because you are inspiring change. I feel like we're changing the workplace. We are. We're changing the future of work. We're changing the way we interact with one another, and it's great. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to have a word from our sponsors, and we're going to come back for sort of round two of questioning with Des, Maya, and Jeff. Man, this conversation has been rich so far, but let's hear from our sponsors, and we're going to come back in a minute. All right, you guys stand by.
Hello, everybody. My name is JP Hatek. I am the founder of Content Creators University, and we are proud to be sponsoring Race Talks Uncut with Charles Jackson. For those of you who do not know me, I am a branding expert, cinematographer, and software developer. What I do is help businesses, entities, individuals, ministries, and so forth have a better impact with high quality visuals in regards to graphic design, professional videos, or even high quality live stream. So after 12 plus years in the industry, I've decided to open this digital master school. So what we do is every single week, we connect with one of the best minds and professionals professionals in the tech and content creation industry. What they do is come on the platform and teach us how we can have a better value proposition, elevate our craft, and keep impacting with our creation. So if you're the type of person that want to keep growing, as we know, technology is an industry that is always evolving. Come and join me every week. Go ahead and subscribe to my YouTube channel, JP High Tech Reviews, or simply visit my website, jphightech.com, or better yet, go ahead and download the Roku TV or Fire TV application. Simply look for JP High Tech, or visit thecontentcreatorsuniversity.com for more. I am excited to connect with you and see you there. Bye-bye.
All right. Shout out to our sponsors, Content Creators University, for sponsoring season 2 of Race Talks Uncut. They provide everything that he said in that sponsorship video. But no, high-end graphics, content creation, if you are in that space, websites, they do it all. And so connect with them, JP High Tech, the Content Creators University, if you are in that space. And so I want to go ahead and bring our guests back. We've been talking with Des, Maya, and Jeff. They young black professionals share their perspective on George Floyd and the civil unrest and graduating, leading families and raising sons, and they're engaged and they just coming off honeymoons and a whole bunch of stuff going on, but amazing conversations we've been having already. So I want to go ahead and bring them back so we can dive into part 2 of this discussion. And I want to start here because, you know, and there was a comment that I saw. Somebody, I think it was Antonio Great. Yeah, let me throw that up there real quick. Antonio said, when you guys were finishing up the last comments, very true. We now are aware of the fact that we have options, so it's not necessary to settle. Love that. Yep, we don't have to settle. So you guys are young. I don't know if you listen to rap music and all. I want you to weigh in on what's going on right now with the baby and this whole, not necessarily him specifically, but yeah, he's at the top of my mind. But this whole cancel culture thing, right? And canceling a person if they say or do something that, hey, you don't agree with. We're not just going to, before I say that, I want to know how y'all feel about cancel culture, how y'all feel about the baby and that whole thing that's going on. Do y'all listen to rap music?
Yeah, for sure.
It's
Okay.
funny that you bring this up because it was a conversation during our wedding weekend.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, we listened to the baby. I feel like he should have been canceled, but I feel like there are consequences for the things that you say, even if it's out of ignorance, even if it's
Okay.
out of not knowing what's going on. There has to be consequences.
Okay.
And I feel like, just like we were saying, now is the time we have the internet. So, you know, what used to take forever, it happens instantly. As soon as you say it, you can.
Right.
So,
Yep. That's
you can't.
you don't gotta wait for the newspaper to print it and you hear about it a week later. You're like, Oh my
Same
goodness.
day, seconds later, you hear about it and you're canceled.
It's viral seconds later.
Sorry.
How about you, Jeff?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like so first of all, I feel like whoever his PR, like they need to make some changes. Like, cause you can tell like his statements that he was putting out, like it just wasn't genuine. I didn't feel it at all. And I feel like what he did is unacceptable. I don't necessarily believe in a cancel culture. I feel like, I'm a Christian. I feel like I like giving people grace, but like I feel like at the same time, like it's cancel culture is a thing. So like he should be aware of the fact that every word you say like will come back to you, and like that's unacceptable on his end. So if he want like, I'm not for the cancel culture, but like if I was, he should be in that box.
Yeah. And there's you.
I'll plus one to that too.
Yeah.
Especially for someone like himself who had the platform that he has, and a lot of people are listening.
Yeah.
I'm with Jeff on this one. I don't really necessarily believe in a cancel culture, but obviously there needs to be some type of accountability for the statement he made, which was, it was outrageous. So
Yeah.
I definitely plus one is.
Yeah, actually, somebody's like, you asking millennials if they listen to rap music? I'm like, yeah, maybe they only like country or Christian hip hop. They might not care for the baby. Like, the baby who? Only reason I know about this cat is because, one, I do this show, so I got to keep up on current events, right? But my son, my oldest son, tried to listen to him. One time he told me that was his favorite rapper, and I'm like, really? So I go and I got to look him up, see what he's talking about. And I was ready to cancel him right then. I'm going to tell you why. I'm not a fan of, and I know we've accepted it in our culture, I feel like, of rappers constantly saying the B word and calling women, the garden tool words in their lyrics. I've never liked that. And so to me, that everything I heard him putting out had that particular language in it. And so to devalue our sisters, again, we've accepted it generation after generation. So they want to cancel him for the LGBTQ probably statement. But I just think overall, we need to be thinking about, as Black people, what we accept in terms of how rappers use that platform. Because you're right, they do have a platform. And so what narrative do they paint for us? Because again, it's like they represent all of us, unfortunately. It's not like one Black person can do something and, he's just a bad person or misguided. We all are like that. Well, other groups, it's not the case. He had a hard upbringing, or he has mental health issues. It's just the isolated incident with other groups. And so we have to be conscious of that. So I like what you all said. But yeah, I would have canceled him a long time ago when he started calling women the B word. But anyways, all right. So I want to talk about some of the amazing things you guys are young Black professionals and you entrepreneurs, right? Entrepreneurs. So let's talk about that. Let's see. I got some sites. All right. No sound. Sorry. Thanks for watching the comments. I got going. All right. So they probably haven't heard us since we got to this shot. We were talking about, let me go back, young Black professionals, kids coming behind us. We can't hear at minute. Okay. All right. So now give me a thumbs up if you all can hear us. Wait, because they got to catch up. It's like a 3-4 second delay. Let us know if you can hear us. You should be able to hear us now. All right, yeah. They can hear us. All right, so I was saying that these young Black professionals are not just talking. They are walking the walk. They are entrepreneurs. They are leading well. And as you see here, this is their site, Lifting Up Our Youth, one of them that I'm going to show you. And this is the team. There's Kara. She's not with us, but we do have Jeff. Jeff is there with us. Looking good. Miss Jasmine, also part of the team. She's not here. And then Desmond with the side shot. Like he a deep thinker. You know what I mean? He was like,
we have to get that updated.
Right. You got to get that updated. We need a front view. No, I'm just kidding. But tell us about lifting our youth, man. How did this start? What is it about? What's the mission? Talk to us about it.
Lifting Our Youth started back in 2017, if I'm not mistaken. Kara, she had this great idea where she's the main driver, by the way, with this organization, where we came together and we had this vision for giving back to our community. We was brainstorming, trying to figure out ways we can give back to help, every young man, every African American young male, as well as female behind us initially. But then, as we continue to brainstorm, we finally figured out that, we wanted to start doing community events as well as scholarships. So each year, currently, we're giving away $1,000 scholarship to two winners. That you in each year, you have to fill out a scholarship application. We have a deadline for that, and then, obviously the team get together and we pick our two winners. But Lifting on Youth is an organization that was built around Georgetown County in order to give yearly scholarships to winners from our community.
Nice. Anything you want to add to that, Jeff? Well, Jeff, you can tell us this. What birthed it? There was a need there, or what? Like, why?
Yeah, Des was spot on. So like we all of us classmates grew up together, literally in the same community, and we felt that, being blessed with, being able to go to college and, graduate college, we feel like there is a need for to see more college grads, and not even just college grads, but just people that's living out in their purpose and doing something differently other than what the norm and what people see in our community. And so there's definitely a need for just assistance and just awareness about the endless opportunities out there in the world.
Yeah, man, y'all giving away suits, y'all giving away scholarships. You see Maya in a photo there. Maya say she used to handle social media. I mean, you guys are running a nonprofit. Less than 30. All of you under 30. Like, you'll be like top 10 CEOs under 30 or something. Who knows? But so a nonprofit, man, what has that been like? What has been the experience? What's been like when you're helping these individuals? How you identifying them? How has it been?
Yeah, helping others. It lit a fire under me. That's something I always was passionate about. Even if I'm helping someone in the smallest way, it doesn't matter. It gives me a feeling that I can't really explain. But it's been fun, just to see the smiling faces when we do give out those scholarships, and to receive feedback from the community. It's been great, and obviously, continue to work with, people that we grew up with, that I love dearly, as well, and I do want to add to it as well that, college doesn't really explain resumes and things like that. So being in a position to help people with resumes at an early age and do those different things has been a blessing.
You said colleges don't help with resumes and things of that, so that's something that you guys offer?
Yeah. So for me, I'll speak for myself, where I didn't really learn resume tips until I got to college.
Okay.
Why wait to college when we can kind of, help with those things, in high school, senior in high school, early college. It wasn't until my senior year in college where, I started really learning information regarding resumes and professional development, I should say. So
nice. Man, so again, seeing the needs and meeting. We saw Des in the picture giving away a suit to some winners. Man, that's really awesome. I'm so inspired by that. I started a nonprofit myself. My wife and I lead a marriage and family organization called You Before Me, and just knowing what it took us to do that and to see you take it to the level of being able to give away scholarships and suits and have that impact. Big ups to you all on that endeavor. And then again, like you say, the impact that it's having on folks and the feedback, getting that's just the driver to know that, hey, we're in the right space, we're meeting the need. Let's continue that type of selfless service. I'm really proud of you all, honestly, even though I'm not family or anything like that. But anytime I see us giving back in these type of ways, I think it's awesome. It just makes me proud. So let's also talk about, Jeff, because you have an endeavor as well. Mr. GQ, let's see if we can bring this up, if technology is going to work. All right, there we go. Make sure we got sound. Yes. So, JQ Lifestyle. Talk to us about this, my brother.
Yeah, so JQ lifestyle, like it came just from an idea, like just being myself, like, through like just, the experiences that I'm able to gain. And I feel like sharing and leveraging my platform to give others an opportunity to understand like it's all possible. Whether it's somebody seeing me travel to different city out of the country, like I want to share that because I feel like, again, like to my point earlier, I feel like I never seen that growing up. And so if I can use, we got technology and social media platform that we can use. I want to be able to do everything in my power to at least like share what's possible, share my journey, share my ups and downs, because I don't want to just share like the high moments. I want to just share like, hey, like I'm struggling, or
Yeah.
this is a hard time, because I think that's important as well. Because in a time where social media, you see the highlights, but we all work extremely hard, and we have our low moments and high moments, and I want to be able to just kind of just be as authentic as possible using that JQ lifestyle platform.
Man, look at you being all humble. I say you're going to be a 30 under 30. You're already a 30 under 30. It's like, Charles, I've been there, done it already, man. I've been a 30 under 30 when I was at the HBCU. No, that's what's up. So questions coming in already. Folks want to know, going back to lifting our youth, the question was, will this spread to other areas? So will it spread to other areas? And the other one was, how can we support you? So if folks want to support, I see a donate button here. They can probably go there and donate, but talk to us about how they can support, how they can get involved, what type of help you need, let the community rally around you. Do we need to send some suits, some money, all of the above? What?
Jeff, you want to take this one?
Yeah. I can take this one. So yeah, I think like, anything helps. When we think about the community, like I think something that, we always struggle with is like when we considering applicants for scholarships, we're like, man, like we really wish we can give everybody scholarships. And so, but of course, if you have a cap, like you have to pick a number and like pick the best applicants. And so, sometimes we just, just having that heart of just being givers. So any contribution like really helps. And, we're a nonprofit. So like, it helps with tax write-offs for those who give and donate. And so anything is helpful. Our social media outlets, websites, keeping track of that to be able to see everything that we're doing. And to like what Des pointed about the suits giveaway and the resume workshop, like anything helps. Every dollar, every penny, like, really, value and make sure that others have opportunities such as that we're getting, to make sure that they're better than the opportunities that we're getting now.
Yeah.
And to add to that as well, if for people that are in the comments, if you are a professional, whether it's with resume, professional development, we are open to collaborating and setting up, different workshops, whether it's virtually, because, with the way everything is going right now, but yeah, but we are open to collaborations and planning out the rest of the year. So
nice. What, so let's give away some merchandise. So if you're on Facebook and you want to be entered into the drawing, we're going to do a quick giveaway. We're going to give away, so Lifting Our Youth is going to give away a ball cap. Is that fitted? Is it a distressed cap? What type of cap is that, Des?
It's a dad cap.
it's like a dad cap.
Like a dad cap?
You can adjust it in the back, depending on your head size.
I love dad caps. So I love those dad distress caps. All right, so Lifting Our Youth. We're going to pick 2 winners tonight. So go over to YouTube. In the comments, drop hashtag Race Talks Uncut, hashtag Race Talks Uncut to be entered. We're going to pull for the dad cap.
Jeff, are you wearing it right now?
Yeah.
Oh, can you
Okay.
show me your hat?
Yeah.
The hat.
Oh, no, he's not wearing that.
No, not the Lifting Our Youth hat.
Okay.
Yeah, couldn't.
And
Yeah.
then Jeff giving away some merch. JQ Lifestyle. I see you got a
back
couple
I have
over here.
Yeah, this is
Let me
right
show
here, and then on the back I have motivational purposes. Oh, it's right there.
There you go. So high risk, high reward on the back, or create your own lifestyle. motivational purpose. What does that last part say?
Motivational purposes only.
Got it. All right. So those are the two items we're giving away tonight. First name John, you're going to win the dad hat from Lifting Our Youth. Second name John, you're going to win sweatshirt from JQ Lifestyle. You're going to have to connect with me. I will receive your information, name, email, address, so that way our young professionals can get your merch out to you. My email, if you're going to be entered into the drawing, is hello@charlesjackson.media. hello@charlesjackson.media. I'll drop it in the chat. And while we pull our first name and our second name, I want you all, as we prepare to let the folks go and I let you go, this amazing conversation. It's been great. I want you to go ahead and add to our culture cloth tonight by talking about what is still near and dear to your heart. Maybe something we didn't cover, something that you were thinking about this whole time, or maybe before our conversation. Just who you are, what you last kind of message. If you want to talk about song, movie, cuisine, whatever. What is pressing on your heart right now, thinking about wrapping up and sending the folks home? And like we started, we're going to start with Maya.
Of course. So I think I want to go off of what Jeff was saying about, living in the social media world right now. And we have a tendency to show the good, the high points. But I think that I'm becoming more intentional about sharing the lows as well, sharing the hard parts. We've had a hard year and a half with our son, as well as just, like I said, adjusting to becoming young parents, being married, all that. So just being intentional about showing what real life is like and not just the pretty stuff.
Yeah, man. Woo. So, yeah. Thinking about the blessing that you have, I guess, downstairs in another room right now, being Aiden, and the experience what you had with him. And for those who don't know, you spent some time in the hospital, right? And ICU and some surgeries, right? And so
Yes, had two
what
surgeries.
look, I don't want to keep them long. So, but I got to ask you this. What did that experience do for your perspective? Like, how did that change you to the point that you're saying, hey, it's not all good? And I know I'm speaking from experience, but what about that brought you to this place that you're saying what you just said right now?
Just because, I mean, people go. I think this reminds me. People are going through something every day. You may see
Mm-hmm.
them smiling, but they're going through something every day. And that was true for us. On social media, we were sharing the highs. A lot of people didn't know to the extent what we were going through when Aiden was first born. He never came home. He was in the hospital for the first month of his life, and went through surgery at 4 days old. So we were going through a lot, and our faith was truly tested during that time. We were out in Seattle pretty much alone. My parents were there visiting, but at the time we were just living there alone, not really accustomed to living out there. We had just moved there about a month before Aiden was born. So it was a lot, a new environment, um, this hard thing that we were facing, not really feeling like adults, but really having to handle this like an adult. Being parents, not understanding what that truly meant at the time.
Mm-hmm.
So it really did test our faith, and during that time, we really had to lean into each other as well as our relationship with Christ. And without Him, I tell anybody who asks me, I would not, I would not have made it. I would not be able to put it into words without God's faithfulness and the strength that He gave us during that time. The level of peace that we experienced on those hard days, um, is just indescribable.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Des, I mean, you was in there with that. How about you as a
Yeah,
father, man? First
yeah.
time
There
around, right
were,
out the gate, having that type of challenge. How did you
yeah.
hold through?
It was challenging. In the beginning, I was like, Lord, like, why us?
Yep.
Why is
Mm-hmm.
this happening to us? And there were many times I felt like helpless.
Mm.
As a man, we're used to being able to do things on our own. But like Maya said, this was a true test in our faith with God, and we had you know, no other choice, no other way we could lean but on
Yeah.
him.
Yeah.
So it challenged our relationship as well, you know, and you know how strong we were as a couple. So,
Mm.
you know, we leaned on each other, and that's all we could do is just, you know, pray about it every day and go see him, and continue to do everything that um we could do on our end, and that's all we could do,
Yeah.
you know.
That's amazing. And so a lot of times when we have those type of experience, right? I say when we go through stuff, as we go through life, as you go through marriage, you go through entrepreneurship, as you raise a family, build business, and you go through things in the process of life, and the hard times hit, that is really when our characters really develop. That is really when our perspective changes. That's really when we see who we are, either how strong or how weak or how fearful we are. It's when we learn about the people around us, who's going to be there to support us, who's going to have our back, who's going to come and stay up late with us and bring us food to the hospital or help with whatever it is. That's when we also learn about the God that we trust. If we have a spiritual belief and we trust in him, like we're learning in those moments, and that growth is more important than any type of end goal that we thought we had in mind.
Exactly.
It's who we become in the process, and who you guys have become in the process. Two beautiful souls, and going through that. And people are in the comments saying, powerful, trust God, but God, you guys are amazing. It's because they're resonating with the fact that you understand you can't put on smiles when you got a kid and who's fighting for his life. And so in that moment, you have to be real. And then now after that, I want to continue to be real. So anyway, man, Jeff, what you got for us, bro?
Man, I do want to touch in like to just, you know, kind of like, you know, being close friends with Des and Maya, and just like, especially with Des, like our relationship, like I learned a lot myself, you know, so like, you know, understanding, it taught me a lot, you know, how to, you know, be there for someone, like, you know, and like, and not only just be there for someone, but like give people space to then come to you as well when they're ready to talk about something as big as that, and being able to like balance that. And so I think that's something I learned too, instead of not take things personal, because you just like, I know, like, so it was a big moment. But to answer your other question, I think the only thing I have is just, you know, just like Maya touched on it earlier too, like just trying to just live in my purpose and be the best version of myself. And I look at every week as like, you know, like this week kicked my butt, but like, you know, I'm back in the game. And so like, I just live like, you know, so I look at life, like try to get back into the game and shoot more free throws. And so, yeah.
That's what's up, man. Go ahead. Shout out your fiance one more time. She watching?
Andrea. Yeah, she watching. Yeah. Andrea Adams.
That's my baby.
Yes. Yeah. So she, and yeah, so I really shout out to her. Like, she's a huge part of like, you know, and by the way, Charles, your content, like the marketing is amazing, by the way. Like, and she like, my fiance is a huge support system for me and like everything that I have going on. And I'm thankful for her.
Absolutely, man. I appreciate you all. I love you three very, very much. So I'm very proud. I know your parents, families are very proud of you. You should be proud of yourselves. Thank you for spending this time with me. So we have our poll going. It's finished now. Our first name pull was Donald Lewis. So Donald Lewis is going to be the winner of our hat. I don't know if that's somebody you know. If not, Donald Lewis, congratulations. Hopefully he doesn't already have a hat, or they. And then the second winner for our sweatshirt was Gina Martin. So Gina Martin will be getting a sweatshirt. So Donald and Gina, congratulations. Big up to you all. Just send me an email, hello@charlesjackson.media, with your name, your address, and I will connect our guest tonight with you so that way they can get you their merchandise and these items. So thank you, all of those who, matter of fact, I don't know if you guys have been following the comments though, but people have been repping with you all the whole time throughout some of these comments. Shout out to Zanette, Samurai 990410. Last week, Samurai was our winner of the giveaway, which is Wayne Andrews. And I looked at it really quick and I thought it said Samira, and I said, congratulations, Samira. You're the winner of Race Talks. But My bad, brother. He's like, Charles, no, that's me. So who else is with us? Of course, we had Gina with us, one of our winners. Antonio Great, who was our guest last week. He's in the chat as well. Thank you all. Thank you all for being here tonight. We had JP High Tech. We had Cree. We had my man James Hick with us tonight. CA. Come on. That's how I would say that. I would say, come on. See, come on. Come on.
It's Catherine Morrison. That's
Catherine Morrison, thank you for tuning in tonight and supporting our young professionals. Thank you for supporting this show. So they've given us their final thoughts. I've said my piece. I'm proud. You guys got me over here feeling like a proud father. We're going to get all choked up and stuff at the great things we're doing. If there's anything that I can do for you here, myself personally, or Charles Jackson Media that we can do for you, please don't hesitate to reach out. For those of you who don't know, and if you haven't already, Charles Jackson Media, again, leadership, tech, culture. You can go over to our website, connect with us, learn more about what we are doing, weekly shows, podcasts. The book is coming, Low Down, Good for Nothing. I take you on a journey of what it's been like for me, being a black man in America. We dive into history. If you need to book me, speaking events, you need help with your media production, website, graphics, overlays, show production, we can help with it all. Go over there, learn more about what we're doing through Charles Jackson Media. We love to connect with you and hear from you, and then stay up to date on future episodes of Race Talks Uncut, the book, and everything that is coming out. Thank you, 3. I'm going to let everyone go. We're going to roll our end credits because it does take a team to bring this production together. So we're going to give credit where credit is due to the team who's behind the scenes helping us. You 3 stay in the green room and wait so that way I can give you a proper send off and say thank you before you head out. Okay. Thanks again. We will be back for another episode of Race Talks Uncut, talking with Nidra. She's going to be talking about being a entrepreneur, where she grew up, her experiences with early racism way back in like elementary, if I'm not mistaken, when we were talking. And so another great episode coming up, another great chat. But let's roll our end credits, and thank you all. We'll see you next time.